What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic CM. It's episode number 93 and we start today's stop with the quarterfinal draw for the Copa del Rey. Eibar away from home. You see Real Madrid are still in it, they got Real Sociedad away from home as we continue our hunt for the treble in our first season at the new camp. And for our first game of today's episode it's on the final one of January, a day before transfer deadline day. Espanyol away at the RCD Stadium in the Derby Barcelona. Obviously a local rivalry between these two teams here. And, as we know, Barcelona's main rivals will and always will be Real Madrid. No doubt about that. The El Clasicos are the ones that you always look forward to as a neutral. Just such fantastic battles over the years, including, of course, the Messi and Ronaldo era. But obviously local rivalry still incredibly tense and feisty as well. And Espanyol this season in the game right now actually in the top 4 too. So heading to this one here, still trying to remain top of the table. This was quite a big game for both teams, and I really wanted to come through and win in this one. Started off early, getting ourselves in front through Ansu Fati's 20th goal of the season. I've said it before and I'll say it again. £170 million, biggest fee in the series, but without question worth every single penny. When sometimes you sign a player with that sort of price tag, there's a lot of pressure that comes with it for spending that sort of money. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but 170 million seems like a bargain at this point. He made it 1-0, Frankie de Jong made it 2, and then the pair combined for our third goal. Our captain rolling it through to Fati for goal number 21 this season. And whilst Moise Kean isn't too far behind right now in the top scoring charts, you'd still put your money on Fati winning this Golden Boot. He's still quite a few goals ahead, and you've only just gone into the second half of the season, so I haven't really mentioned this, but could Ansu Fati join Ivan Toney and Samuel Belbel in the 40 goal a season club? Haven't mentioned it, but it's definitely a possibility. And at this rate, he's got a great chance of doing it. So we went 3-0 up there with Fati's brace after a great through ball by De Jong. Espanyol got back in the game just after the restart, but to be honest, despite the goal, they were never really in the game. Still felt in complete control for the most part, and then with 50 minutes to go, Bordislan off the bench, Benito, holding midfielder, and he's one of the guys we signed in the summer. One of those youth players, and I mentioned it when we brought him in along with Juan Martinez and Bilbao Arteta. How are my pronunciations, guys? I said these guys, they're going to get game time. Like, they will get game time because I want to get youth players involved a bit more in this series. I've talked about it before. I found it quite difficult in this year's FIFA to have a lot of youth players having meaningful impacts in my team. Obviously, the exception to the rule is in my Cork to Glory series, and that's obviously because we started off with the lowest rated team in the game, so whoever youth player we got was going to get a lot of exposure in the first season with our side from Ireland. But I just find it more difficult this year to see youngsters progress at quicker rates. And, again, sometimes they will, and with dynamic potential, those will increase as well. But we haven't really had anyone in this series that's done anything noteworthy. So maybe the youngsters here with Barcelona could be those guys, including this guy who we signed from Inter Milan. Now, we found out about him in the summer. We waited until transfer deadline day, and with £192 million in our transfer budget, I splashed 75 million of that to bring in this guy, Sherba Garcia Marin from Inter Milan. Again, we found out about him in the summer when Inter Milan were willing to swap him to us, and in the end we wait until deadline day in January and bring him in for, again, £75 million. He's 24 years old. He's an 86 rated midfielder, and whilst defensive midfield is his secondary position, to me, with the high medium work rates, the player trait, absolutely not. To me, he's a playmaker in this team, not a defensive midfielder. And whilst with the stats he's got and the 88 stamina as well, as a natural CM, that does seem like a great role for him. I could definitely see this guy being an attacking midfielder, possibly, if we train the long shot so that we're going to do so, could become a centre forward in this team. As we know right now, Dembele is on the right, Fati's on the left, but as a backup for those two, he could definitely do that job. Again, the problem really is getting this guy the game time. He looks fantastic, but how often he's going to play with De Jong and Pedri ahead of him through the middle of the park, and then again, you've got Ricky on the bench, and like I mentioned there, Dembele and Fati are the ones that play further forward, but then you've got Trincao or Yarzabal off the bench. That's just a problem at the moment. The depth of this team is so strong, and it's just getting stronger because we didn't just sign Sherba, we also signed this guy as well, brought him back to the new camp. As we know, this summer in real life, he's just moved to Ellen Road. He's gone to Leeds United, his first stint in Premier League football. But in the game, he's at Lyon in France. He's 84 rated. He's 30 years old. He's not a product of De La Masia Academy. I think was it Real Betis he signed for? It was many years ago now. I can't remember. I think it was Real Betis. But of course, he signed for Barcelona, and he's just an excellent left-sided player. You know who he is. 30 years old now in the game. How time flies. Junior Firpo. Really awesome talent. And again, this is, like I mentioned in the summer transfer window, one of those players who fits our system perfectly. We'll train him to be a left mid and swap the primary and secondary positions around. He'll go on our bench and replace Mariba as a backup for Marc Cucurella. And again, this is the sort of guy that fits our system perfectly. Playing a three-at-the-back system, you need your left mid and your right mid to be great on both defensive end and on the offensive end with high stamina. We've got those two guys in Pedro Porro and Cucurella. Now we've brought back Junior for the bench as well. Excellent signing there, I'd say, for not that much over his market valuation. And whilst he might be 30, he's not going to decrease in rating just yet. But also as well, I did decide to extend the contract with Iñaki Peña. As we know, we had 4 players, their deals that come at the end of the year that could leave on free transfers. Bologna approached him to sign him on a free. And as we know, we just brought in De Gea's regen in the very last episode. He's now become our backup for Ter Stegen on the bench. But Iñaki, to be fair, he's a homegrown player. He came through the Barcelona academy and is a third choice goalkeeper at 77 overall. I mentioned before, I always like to have 3 goalkeepers minimum in my team, just for realism primarily. And again, Iñaki was 77 overall, and he's again coming into his prime now as a goalkeeper, his late 20s to early 30s. In fact, can I take that back? 27 is not late 20s, it's mid 20s. But yeah, he's still young, he's still got room to grow, and he has grown a rating this year as well, despite not playing a game. So I extended his contract. It's not a high one, 75 grand a week, and yeah, I think as a third choice goalkeeper, we don't need to worry about changing those positions or signing new ones in the summer. We just extend his deal, he'll remain as our third choice. That was a transfer deadline day. We had a couple of bids, a couple of loan bids. Funny enough, one for Peña directly afterwards from Porto, and Mariba wanted as well. We turned that one down too, and that was how the window would end. So what a crazy first season of transfers for Barcelona. When I said we needed to rebuild this side, restructure it, and give this club their identity, well, I think we've done that in one season. Every single signing we made, 13 in total, every single player is Spanish. We're giving these guys the Spanish core. We brought back those La Masia Academy grads, Junior Firpo, Ricky, Eric Garcia, and so on and so forth, like we did at Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. I love how we've developed this team in just a one season so far. I'm so happy to miss in January and in the summer as well. And when you look at this team as well, after you see our fixture for February there, including the El Clasico, big game there, quarter-final of Copa del Rey, that's our second and final against today, and of course the first leg of the Champions League round of 16 against Spurs. You look at our team here, it's just so strong in depth already. And one thing I really like about it, again, is look at the amount of youth players that are here. Again, Garcia Marin, or the Garcia Marines, if you will. Juan Martinez, with potentially special. Bilbao Arteta, the exciting prospect, that's got some game time this year. David De Gea's region on the bench. This is what I wanted. I wanted youth players to have an impact on my team here with Barcelona. We've done that, and again, we've reassembled the team. We brought back La Masia Academy graduates. We've got a Spanish core here. This is exactly what I wanted when we took over in the summer, to change this team, give it an identity, and get some youth players involved as well. Loving it so much, man, seriously. So yeah, for the second and final game of today's episode outside of the transfer window now, SDI Bar away, Copa del Rey, quarterfinals, and like I said, I want to win at least a trophy or two this season with Barcelona. We couldn't do that in our debut year at the Emirates Stadium. I don't want to have another trophyless campaign. It's been a while, I forgot what it feels like. So the Copa del Rey is a great chance to get our first trophy of the season here, and taking on Eibar away from home, firm favourites will still rotate a lot on my side. Ansu Fati gave us the lead, but Eibar would respond with a fantastic finish from just inside the area there as they found their leveller. And in a pretty tense first half, I must say, I was really quite nervous in this game. 7 minutes before the break, still tied at 1-1. Some nice football. Saw Tammy Abraham once again turn provider and not goal scorer. Roll it through to Oyarzabal, who finishes from close range to make it 2-1. I mentioned before, this guy on our bench, 90 rated on our bench. That just shows you the quality we've got in depth in this team. So Barca in front, Tammy the support striker in this game, setting up both. We are leading by a goal, and then right before the break, a chance to make it 3, which we would. Fati turns from scorer to provide himself, rolls it through to Tammy. He gets a goal for his good service. Eibar 1, Barcelona 3, and that was how it would finish. All the job done in the first half, and we are into the Copa del Rey semi-finals in our first season with Barcelona. They were trophyless last year. They don't want to be trophyless again. We spent a ridiculous amount of money on rebuilding this side, and in the first season, with 17 games to go in La Liga, 7 points clear of Atletico Madrid, 12 points clear of Villarreal, and 18 points clear of Real Madrid as well. Domestic double is certainly on, and the treble dreams are still alive as well. But that was this episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. Big thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it. If you have, then please drop a like. Most of you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the first leg of the Champions League round of 16 against Spurs very soon.